Hello and welcome to Computer Science 20S. This is lesson 3, where today we're going to be talking about keyboard input and the if command. And once again, this is a pretty small, short little introductory lesson. Obviously, as we get into more complex concepts, these lessons are going to get longer and longer. All right, so after this lesson, you'll be able to move a sprite with the keyboard, understand how the if command works for collision detection. And you're going to be able to also create your sprites. You're going to be able to move them around. Okay, so here they've labeled this. I've got this from a Scratch website. They've labeled it playing with music, but it can really mean, can be applied to just about any situation. It says often when using a computer, it needs to respond to an event triggered by the user. For example, a computer will react when you press buttons on a joypad, playing a game, or simulating piano playing on a keyboard, whether it be a mouse, trackpad, a remote, some kind of gamepad that you've got at home, touch screen. Basically, input is probably the most key thing for any computing device. You need to be able to control it in some type of input. Okay, so we're going to look at that today in the world of Scratch. So we're going to use that. We're going to find all of these commands under the control. So for example, these ones here can be used to move a sprite around a stage. So when right arrow key is pressed, I'm going to move it 10 steps. Let me just show you what that would look like. Here I've still got my eyebrow cat from a previous lesson. So I'm going to have something like when right arrow is pressed, I'm going to move 10 steps. And then when I run it, I press my right arrow, he moves. Left arrow is not going to work because I haven't coded it yet. If I want the left arrow as well, and this time I would move minus 10 steps. Now my cat can move left and right. Okay. You can go ahead and add in the Y arrow, and you'll notice that the left and right is used by the move. The up and down is used or is performed by the change Y. We could also have, rather than move 10 steps, we could have change the X. So not set X, sorry, change X by 10. Would have done exactly the same thing. Now the difference is, if I happen to rotate this guy, like so, and now if I run it, if I use my right arrow, he goes like this, but if I use my left arrow, he goes backwards. Okay, so that's the difference between move and change the X. So you can play around with that as well. Other systems, of course, might use a joystick or remote of some kind. As I said before, input is pretty darn important. The if command is also very important. The if command operates just like the English word if. If something is true, then do something else. So, for example, if you're programming a game, if my character touches a power-up, then I'm going to play a sound. So something like if touching color white, play sound pop. And that's relatively easy to code. Here's my if. All of my operators are here. I guess it's under sensing. If touching color white. And sound, it's under sound obviously. Okay, so something like that. Let's just change this instead of touching color. Let's change it to if we are touching the edge. Okay, and I'm going to throw in a green flag. Okay, now when I move my cat to the right, and he touches the edge, he should be playing the sound meow. Now the reason he's not doing that is because it checks this immediately. Okay, as soon as I press green flag, it immediately starts this code here, and it checks to see if it's touching the edge. It's not, so it does not play the sound meow, and then this script ends. There's no way to continue checking this over and over again. So the way to do that is a different kind of if, the forever if, which basically means continually check to see if that is happening. Let's see if this will work now. There we go. And you'll notice that it's continuing to play it because it's still checking. Okay. You have to be very careful with forever loop if loops. If you have lots of them running in your program, it will use up a lot of the computer's memory because it's continually checking these things. Use forever ifs very carefully. Do not use a whole lot of them. There's ways to program efficiently so that you don't need to use forever ifs all the time, but just wanted to show you that difference. Okay, here's a couple of exercises. So I'd like you to create a script using Scratch that will make your sprite move in different directions using the arrow keys. We've already got you started on that. When you have a working script, use it to fill in the blank commands below. And I'd like you to add this to your previous lesson, lesson 2 program. You should, at that time, you had 2 sprites, one moving to the right and one moving to the left on their own. Now I'd like you to be able to control them, use arrows for one sprite, and use the A, S, W, Z to control the other sprite, the one on the left. So go ahead and try that. And the second exercise here, have one sound play when one sprite touches a wall. Use another sound for the other sprite. Make a third sound when the sprites touch each other. And you'll notice I've given you a hint here. This time I've sort of combined two things. I've combined the forever and the if. If you want to use that, you can. I think Scratch updated and put in a forever if. I think when I originally created this lesson, I don't think that existed, so I had to do it this way. You'll need 3 separate scripts, one for the sprite 1 touching the edge, you'll need one for the sprite 2 touching the edge, and you need one for sprite 1 touching sprite 2. And you should save that as lesson 3, and you should show me when you're done to get some feedback. All right, good luck with those 2 little exercises.